I drove down to a cracking beach, sat there, and when normally you'd finish the meal looking at the beautiful beach and the sun, instead of me going, well, if we leave now after dinner, we could go back and get the next ferry back across into town. So I just sat there and went, well, the sun's not gone down yet. We're just sitting here doing this. Now, this may sound very easy for a lot of people, but when you are constantly been moving all your life, worried about what happens the next day and that anxiety, that becomes a problem. You never sit down and just work out how to enjoy today. And that was the first. So the pressure versus performance curve, when you explained that, it gave me permission for the first time to just sit there and go, take the pressure off, see what it's like just sitting here enjoying the day.
Yeah. So I'll explain the performance pressure bell curve. It's basically a bell curve. Imagine on the bottom, there's pressure. On the side, going up, is performance. Now, there comes a certain point where there's positive pressure. That is called excitement, intrigue, interest, and that builds up performance. And it's a positive pressure. But then beyond that, the pressure gets to a point where it actually causes a dip in people's performance. And usually what I notice is that middle line is when you transition from something outside, like this would just be really fun. This would be really exciting. Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this, if we could build this, if we could create this kind of business system, whatever it may be, to what does this mean about me if I don't do this? What does it mean about my self-worth? Are people going to judge? If I can't do this, if I fail, when you start internalizing all these meanings about yourself, that's when you dip into the part of performance, like that stress part, where your performance really starts to dip. And this was also something that I learned for myself. I had a really hard time not pushing myself all the time and putting more pressure, because I thought more pressure makes more diamonds. And for me, that was also a pivotal thing in my own development, to recognize there's a point there of it's not diminishing returns, it's the opposite. It causes a dip. Is that accurate?
That is absolutely accurate.
How you saw it?
I will say, because I just wanted to say a thank you, because since that day, which was not that long ago, actually, probably about a month or so ago, I've had many days like that where I've just enjoyed being in that day, and it feels absolutely incredible. But do you know what feels really, really incredible is knowing that it's on the other side of already having a successful business as well, which means not only do I sit there and just enjoy the day, but have to tomorrow I wake up and fear, can I afford the flights? Can I afford the rent? Can I afford the car? I don't even have that fear anymore. It's just all good.
I'll say this though. For people who are not there yet, don't excuse yourself to think, okay, so this isn't relevant to me. The performance pressure bell curve, it is a very well-researched thing. And even if you still have to make a lot of effort in your business, by effort, I don't mean doing small things. If you're in that stage still where you're doing everything in a lot of tasks, that's different. But if you're in a place like Ian said at the beginning of the episode, where you have to make impactful decisions that are dictated by your emotions, the performance pressure bell curve is a really important thing to be aware of, to be on top of. Because if you're starting to dip towards that point where there's too much pressure, it will hinder your performance as far as that. So even if you're not at that place where Ian is right now, it's really important not to neglect that. Don't think it doesn't apply to you. It probably applies to you more. He's talking about in the realm of enjoyment, but also in the realm of just straight up performance. It is a really, really important tool to understand and to be conscious of where am I right now in this bell curve? Do I need to hold back? Can I push more? Or also, why am I in this place? Am I associating too much stuff for my personal, my self-worth? Or am I just looking at it as a fun game?
And that dirty fuel will drive you at the wall. Will just drive you at the wall.
Yep.
It will just ram you into a wall really hard, because you can't, when you're like that on dirty fuel, you're not seeing the performance pressure bell curve. You're just not seeing.
You're blinded. You're blinded.
Yeah. So that's my. I reckon that's 7 tips and tricks, or however you want to say it, actual practical things that work for me.
Those were the key points that allowed you to have the transformation. And I really, really appreciate you sharing them, because I think people can see that these were key things, so maybe I should try them as well, because there was a result here, like you said. There
was a result. There is a result that is both money, which is what a lot of you are looking at, freedom, which is what a lot of you are looking at, but also happiness, which is not guaranteed.
More of you should be looking at.
Life happens to you, and there's nothing guaranteed in there. So you can always make more money. That's really easy, right? You can always start a business. That's really easy. But what else? At what cost? So I've got 4 very, very quick points on how to get the most out of any coaching, actually, but working with Itamar, Emil, anyone else. So the first one is I just have a avoid coaches that you see hunting for cheap options.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So you'll see a lot of them out there, hey man, I can transform your business. I'm a performance coach and this, that, and the other. And then you see them out there saying, hey, does anyone want to share an Airbnb? It's a really nice cheap, it's a cheap cafe. I said, fucking don't do it. Because you are voting for yourself as a cheap, unworthy person if you hire that person.
Yeah.
You need the person to be reassuringly expensive. Anyone charges me too little. I won't give them the time to do anything with me at all. And it doesn't mean to say you got to be, stupid with money. It doesn't mean to say you got to be rolling in it, but it should be slightly uncomfortable when you pay, because if it is, you will get results really, really quickly. And so when I decided it took me not even 30 seconds. It didn't even take me 3 seconds to say yes to Itamar. But when he first gave me his price, I went, oh yeah, that's an amount of money. And then I went, but of course, because I know that it is going to pay me back one day. What I didn't realize is that it would literally pay me back in less than the time it took Itamar to deliver that first package. Actual real dollars more than that. But the long-term effect of that is it's incalculable how much value you get out of that. If I'd voted for myself as someone who's not worthy of the best by taking someone who's, hunting around for cheap Airbnbs and sharing in nice local cheap cafes, I would be voting for myself as a loser. And I'm not. I'm here for the big one. So that's the first thing. So this one, I'm going to try and not. This one sounds a little bit technical. Stay with me. But it's, I asked Itamar before my first session, and any other coach who works on any kind of therapy type framework, any sort of psychological framework, are you kind of causal or what we call teleological, in other words, into the future? So causal is when you look at your childhood and all these things, and you look back into it and analyze it and understand it, which gives you a reason of why you are the way you are. Okay. But I think it's okay to look back, but just don't stare, is my way. Then you've got the people who are teleological. This is the Adlerian psychology view. The former one is the Freudian view. The Adlerian one is you can change anything about your life in any moment whatsoever. Have a clear vision of where you want to go. You will manifest it. It's all the Napoleon Hill work. It's the psycho-cybernetics. Yeah. Manifest it, dream it, it will come if you believe it enough, etc. There's all that. In other words, going back to one of my first points, if you have a belief, attention, it can be replaced and it can be changed in a second. It can change in a second. And you can have any life you want. It is never too late to change, ever. However, I do also believe that if somebody's only teleological and dreaming and telling you about this big dream and you can change anything, they tend to be a tad woo-woo-y, the people who only talk in that paradigm. So if you're doing that and having success, if you have not addressed the things in your past and those beliefs from your past, they will come and screw you up at some point. Because at some point you're going to be tired, drunk, frustrated, not feeling too well, scared, and the old patterns can come back and sabotage your future dreams. And that's what would have happened to me. I'm very teleological. I went down the psycho-cybernetics route some time ago, nearly 10 years ago, and I have manifested a future for myself, which is working. However, it was not going fast enough, and I kept sabotaging it. That's hence I had to go backwards. So when picking a coach, in my personal view, everyone has their own view. Look at someone who has the ability to understand the past and the mental models you've built as a coping mechanisms, but also make sure that they don't try and hold you there forever, and that they also present a version of the future that you can have. So it's really coming back to Itamar's, one of his first principles is remove what's holding you back. Because that's the practical application that makes that all work. Because when you've removed what's holding you back, really sky's the limit. Get ready to get on a rocket ship if you've got a business as well. So if you just want to be happy, that's all cool. If you have a business and a team and a way of monetizing this help, you strap in because you're on a rocket ship now. You're just going to do things you can't believe. So that's the causal versus teleological. Hopefully I didn't lose too many people just at that point. Be vulnerable. If you're not prepared to be vulnerable, if you think you've got it all dialed in, and you just want someone to give you the shortcut, push-ups done for you, no one buys that service, right? Because we all know it's not going to work. It's the same thing here. You're going to end up doing some work, and it's okay to do work on yourself. The good thing is if you have a business is you have a method of earning income while you're doing the work on yourself as well. But it is hard work and it's good, worthy work. So yeah, be vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you just won't get there. It's like confidence comes from having done things that made you scared in the past multiple times because you have the confidence to get through it. But it does require you have to do some work that may scare you a little bit or leave you feeling a bit sort of lost in the wind for a short while. Just trust in the coach. Trust in it that they're going to get you through. And
I want to add something here. Beyond trust the coach, you got to decide. Everybody wants to be brave, but no one is willing to be scared or vulnerable. It doesn't work. If bravery or courage is a virtue to you, then you need to be scared. You need to be vulnerable. You need to put your situations you might fail, whatever it may be. Yeah. These two have to work in unison. That's what most people don't understand. Everybody wants to be brave, but nobody's willing to be courageous or vulnerable. It has to come together.
Yeah, and it's you can always see the vulnerable. We're part of an entrepreneurial organization, right? And we see lots of people who aren't prepared to be vulnerable. They walk around with, but we also see them when the light's off them and they're less cocky, and they're very vulnerable. But as soon as they're in a group, they suddenly become invulnerable. They all want to, yeah. And then you have the ones who want to do failure porn. And the problem with failure porn is ones who always want to talk about all the things wrong, and not wrong in their life in a complaining way, but oh my God, I really made this mistake and I made that mistake, and at least I'm vulnerable and I'm vulnerable and I'm learning and I'm on a journey. Yeah, but what you're doing is you're taking you're removing ownership of that and saying, yeah, but you're not doing anything about it. So you got to do something too.
I have a strong opinion on this.
Go for
There's
it.
a fine line between effective vulnerability and victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just saying this is how hard it is for me, that's when you're exhibiting victimhood. If you're saying this is what it's hard for me in order to be able to figure out something better and move towards a better future, like you're saying, it's very effective vulnerability. If it's for a purpose, it's a means to an end. If it's just an end, all you want to do is just say this is hard for me. And again, we all need time to vent every once in a while. But if that's all you're doing and that's all that it is and where it ends, that's just victimhood. It's not effective vulnerability.
Bingo. Yeah. It was a thing I decided to leave off my list as well, was around that subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the last one's simple, is one there that I see a lot of coaches out there with playbooks, methods or processes they're going to get through. I actually met one just the other day, talked about the importance of a goal. If there's no goal there in it, and yeah, I'd agree that to a certain level, playbooks are good and goals are good. But as I pointed out to that person, the ones I want to pay the most money to are not the ones that have a playbook or a goal. And I know, you've all got playbooks, right? And when you're doing groups coaching, they're probably essential because they keep things on a certain set of rails. Maybe not. You're the pro, not me. So I'm not there. But when I'm choosing how to use my money and my attention to vote for myself, the framework I really go for is something you've mentioned, and also another person I work with has mentioned, which is you stop thinking about a playbook, you stop thinking about a process, and you start thinking about what's effective for the person sitting in front of you, which is me. I'm the one who needs to get the results here. And the path to the results is unknown. It is always unknown. The idea that there is a path you follow is fucking ridiculous, because at any single juncture, there are so many ways it could go. And the problem I have with goals, I don't have a problem with goals. I love goals. There's lots of goals. I've achieved nearly all of them. The thing is that once you start getting up into the rarefied atmosphere of having removed everything that's holding you back, and you've installed a set of business practices that give you the tool to build a really successful business on both sides, so you have the freedom to do it, and you also have the skills and the mechanisms to do it. There's no way that a goal that you set a little while ago is going to be enough. Because suddenly the sky is just open and you're in a rocket ship, and suddenly you're looking back at what used to be what you thought the horizons were, and you realize just how small they are, because anything becomes possible. So goals are kind of, in my view, goals are good to a point. But the real money game is played above goals. It's when there is just boundless, endless abundance of opportunity for happiness and money and freedom.
Yeah. Well said. Very well said.
That's pretty much all I got. No, I haven't. I've got hours worth of more stuff to go. But we tried to keep that short. By the way, I noticed Neil said earlier, I'll try and keep it short. I'm not really that much of a fan of, hey, let's all keep it short. Let's keep it simple. Give me the playbook. Give me the shortcut. You know, the number of people have come to me going, oh, your online learning program, Ian. Just give me the 1 or 2 slides that I really need to change my life. I go, you are fucked before you even start.
Yeah. So I want to say this, because this also relates to what you're saying about coaches and playbooks and all this kind of jazz. There's a quote I love, and I'm butchering it a little bit, by Emerson. He says, the man who only knows tactics will get lost. The man who can understand concepts can apply tactics at will. And this is a big part of how you think. You think in a conceptual manner. And that's why it's also we didn't set a specific goal. We said, there's some concepts here. One of these concepts is that you got to figure out who do you want to be. Not clarify this is a goal. This is a concept. Another clear concept is what's the fastest path to success and what's holding you back from that. What belief structures are there? This is a concept. You keep going back to this in different stages of life. And I could literally read through all of these. What fuel? Bad fuel. That's a concept that you can apply and constantly know what's going on here. What's driving me? Conceptually, what's going on here? And I think these are big things. And I would love to kind of wrap it up on that level. Ian said some really, really impactful things here. And I really appreciate you sharing this. All these things are not specific, do this, do that. Some of them are in a tactical level. But they come from a concept of if you do these things, you can, again, remove the stuff that's holding you back so you can go to that better future, like you were saying. And putting that all together, that's just what gets results.
Can I?
Yeah. Anything else, Ian? Should we log off?
Oh, there's loads, mate. Come on.
Loads.
There's always loads.
Yeah.
That's just the great thing about life, right? Is it presents you with all these wonderful opportunities to get better and grow. So there'll be more. But hopefully that if you've watched this, you've given yourself the opportunity to vote for yourself, put some money down, get some work done.
Yeah. And I want to say one last thing, actually. Courage. Like all this stuff does not work if you don't have the courage to actually, like Ian said, believe in yourself, think you're worthy of doing this, and just do things that are scary. You have these friends on your shoulder, these voices from your past that are familiar. They're not good for you, but they're familiar. And it's kind of the devil you know. And it requires courage to do a lot of these things. And everything we said here, courage is the prerequisite. If you decide, if you choose, courage is a choice. If you choose to employ courage, everything can just get better in life. Everything. Life, business, everything. It's just amazing what that thing can do. These are frameworks, these are concepts you can use. Courage is a prerequisite. And on that note, I wish you guys a good day. Ian, thank you again so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Emotional Fortitude podcast. Please tell a friend if you enjoyed it and found value in it. 3 last things before you go, though. If you feel like someone else with your exact skill set and abilities could be accomplishing more than you currently are, that's a mindset and emotional access issue. And here are 3 ways I'd love to help you conquer any internal limitations, go big, and win. 1, 3 Quick Ideas Tuesday newsletter. It's a weekly email with 3 quick ideas around one aspect of elite performance and how to approach it differently to get better and faster results. People say it's the most thought-provoking and impactful 2 minutes they spend in their inbox each week. It's easy to sign up to and easy to cancel, and you can sign up at itamarrani.com/3ideas. 2 is the Emotional Fortitude micro course. It will help you build the emotional fortitude and confidently tackle any goal. It's the complete, nothing held back emotional fortitude system in 5 simple parts. It's all under 5 minutes each module. See it, use it, and win. And it's completely free at itamarrani.com/course. And number 3, lastly, if you want to dive in and aggressively level up, the Arena Mindset Accelerator might be for you. It's a 6-week intense sprint for entrepreneurs who are up for a dramatic transformation. It's an interactive live program where you'll be working with me in a very hands-on way to get clarity on what you want, build an effective mindset to optimize for your goals, and establish elite emotional fortitude that will allow you to overcome any fear or doubt that could get in your way. You can learn more at itamarrani.com/accelerator. You can find all of these links in the show notes below or go to itamarrani.com and have a look around. Until next time, who dares wins.